Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So in today's video, I'm going to be doing a tutorial on this look as well as a review and swatches of the Milk Cosmetics VIDA palette from their newest collection. I decided to get this one over the darker one because I felt like this one was going to be, I would use it more than the darker one. I felt like with the darker one, there would be much less times where I felt like I could wear it. But this one, you can do some neutral looks, you can do your crazy looks. So, and I'm like a big orange person, like red, and I'll wear these kind of really warm colors too, and especially green as well. So I thought this would be, I'd get more use out of this basically. So yeah, that's what we'll be doing today. Hope you guys enjoy this video. I will have timestamps here. We're gonna start off with the tutorial. I will do a review and then end it with the swatches. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So if you wanna see how I got this look and learn about my feelings on this palette, then just keep on watching. So to start off our look today, I'm gonna prime as always. Today I'm going to be using my Maybelline Fit Me Concealer, and we're going to prime the top, and then I'm also going to prime all the way around the bottom as well. So today obviously we're going to be using the absolutely beautiful Milk Cosmetics VIDA palette. So this is the one that has all the green, brown, and more red shades and kind of orangey shades. I decided when I was looking at these that they were both so pigmented when I swatched them, but I decided I would get more use out of the VIDA than the MORPHE, so that's why I got this one instead. So to start off this look today, I'm going to take Morphe M533 brush, and I'm going to go first into the shade Soul, and I'm going to start off by putting this in my upper crease. So I'm going a lot closer to my kind of brow bone, I guess. And layering this up a couple times, and as you can see, this is going to be kind of a classic Allison look where I'm going really heavy on the inner corner, and I'm also winging it out quite a bit because this is just the color story and the type of palette where you're not going to do some cute little neutral basic look, you know, especially with these colors. This is going to be a dramatic look, so I'm going to keep my shape really dramatic as well. That's why it's really good when you're blending in your concealer. That's why I like to use concealer as a base, because you can pull your concealer. I pull it all in here. I pull it above my brow. I pull it out and down. So that way I know like all my shadow when I'm doing these crazy looks is going to have a base to stick to. Once that is down, I'm going to go into the yellow, which is called Amor Eterno. That sounded very Italian. That's not how you say it. Okay, I'm gonna say it like a white person, very American, sorry. Amor Eterno. And I'm gonna put this yellow shade basically right around the edges of that first more orangey shade. So this is going, I'm almost kind of meeting in the middle with this yellow from both sides. And then I'm gonna take this yellow and literally put it as my brow bone color and pull it around again above the edge of the orange all the way around. As I said in my Alamar video, and anytime I do a video where there's like a different language in the color names, I'm, you know, an English speaker. I know some Spanish, but my accent isn't the best. So if I say these names really stupidly, don't come for me. So next time taking the Morphe M513 and the shade Pan Dulce, I don't know. And that's just the kind of next step up, darker orange from the first one we used. And I am going to start blending this in the crease as well. Just a little bit lower than that first orange. But again, I'm kind of going all the way to the inner part, buffing it into the inner corner of my eye a little bit, and then pulling it out in that wing shape. Next, I'm taking the red, and we're going to start applying this in the outer corner. This red is very intense. Now, one thing I will say is because these are pressed pigments, it does say it's a pressed pigment palette, you have to treat them a little differently than a regular eyeshadow and work with them a little differently, because if you've ever had a pressed pigment eyeshadow palette, so like for example, the James Charles palette, there's a lot of companies now that are doing pressed pigment palettes. Pressed pigments don't necessarily work, you know, perfectly the same as regular eyeshadows. So sometimes with certain colors you can have a little bit of patchiness, especially with the matte brighter shades where it kind of almost seems like it's not sticking. And that's just something that these pressed pigments do. So with this red in particular, I did have that trouble over here where sort of right in this spot here, you might be able to kind of see it, things weren't sticking. And so just know that that could happen. I'm going to try my best to, you know, make it not happen on this side. It is kind of starting to happen just a little bit, but you can just manipulate it and work with it to fix that. And the key is to do minimal blending and more packing. So when I'm doing this, especially with the red, if you notice, I kind of packed it on like this and did a really soft blending, because when you start over blending these pressed pigments, that's when they get patchy. So I'm going back in with our lighter orange shades just around the red, just to make sure that that's staying nice and blended. Because obviously the red is a big part of the look, but I don't necessarily want it to completely take over the look. I want to make sure the edges still look really orangey. So that's why I'm going back with my lighter oranges. I'm now going to take a JH40 in the shade Chocolate from this palette, which is the really dark brown. And I'm going to start pressing this on the outer corner of my eye. And this is where we're going to build up that nice kind of smoky depth. So just applying that and then starting to really lightly buff it. So it was between this brown and the red where I kind of had to do a little bit more work, and it might be difficult if you're a little bit more of like a beginner in eyeshadow or haven't used pressed pigments a lot, because as you can see, once I get in that red, I'm trying to pat more and dab more to make sure I still get that kind of depth. And I'm going to use patting motions to kind of blend. But as you can see, it's kind of doing the same thing over here that I was doing here, where it's just like not wanting to stick right in this spot. Again, it's kind of just comes with the territory of pressed pigments. So you're just going to have to do a little bit more manipulating and blending to really get it to show up. And like I said, it's going to be a lot of dabbing. Dab, dab, dab. So yeah, I'm just going to continue blending this and dabbing and building up. All right, so that's not perfect yet, but we will come back to kind of fix that. I'm just gonna go the next step first, and then we'll kind of start fixing everything. So I'm gonna take my Peaches and Cream base. You guys know I use this base anytime I'm using a shimmery eyeshadow, because I just want maximum impact from the get-go. I don't wanna play games. When I swatched this shimmery color I'm going to use, it was very pigmented, so I'm not concerned that it wasn't going to show up, but I want it to be like the best version of itself that it can be. So that's why I just go on with that base. So I applied that all over my lid with my finger and a little bit above my crease, and now I'm just taking this shade, I think it's Alegria. I'm pretty sure it's something like that. And I'm going to pack this all over that base on the lid. It's a really beautiful kind of neon reflective red orange kind of color. It's so gorgeous. And I'm packing that on the lid, and then as I usually do, I'm gonna go a little bit above the crease with that so that it peeks out when my eyes are open. And you can also dab this a little bit on top of this darker color out here to get them to kind of blend together. And then at this point is when you can make your adjustments if you want to add a little more depth, touch up your outer corner as needed. I'm going to try at this point to kind of fix this little area and make sure it matches this side as best as possible. I think the hardest part for me when I'm saying Spanish words is I can roll my R's like very well with certain words, like say red, like rojo, but if the R has to follow up next to, or it's like right after a consonant, like say like Alexandria, it'd be like Alexandr. It's like hard, the DR, or like Alegria, it's Alegria, and it's just so like, I don't know, it's like that transition that I feel like is hard for me in certain Spanish words. This is not a Spanish lesson, you know, I'm just kind of going on tangents here as usual. Okay, so I'm gonna take this little Morphe flat packing brush. This was from the holiday brush set. I really love this one. And I'm gonna go back into the yellow shade, and I'm going to pack this all over my inner corner. And because I have like a higher nose bridge right here, I'm kind of bringing that almost like up this side of my nose, if that makes sense, like over here. So it's going to kind of blend into all this blending we did up here in the inner corner. And I kind of did a layer first, and then you can go back and pack a little more, and it'll just like keep getting brighter. And then once it's on, there isn't like a light shimmer in here for me to add a pop like I wanted to. So I just went into this Super Shock shadow from ColourPop. It's the shade Ladybird. It's an ultra glitter Super Shock shadow, and that is very accurate. It's very glittery, and it's sort of like a white champagne kind of color. So I'm just gonna use the same brush. This is dry, I'm not gonna wet this, and I'm just gonna layer that on top of the inner corner. But I'm keeping it more focused like right there on the inner part. I'm not like bringing it up, you know, like I did with the yellow. And obviously this is just gonna add a nice little pop to our inner corner. I'm also gonna take this shade and lightly press that right under my brow bone. And again, this is being layered over top of the yellow we already had down. So it's going to almost kind of turn yellow, and just add a really beautiful sheen to the brow bone. And then I like to go back with my blending brush just to soften that, to make sure it's blending well into the matte shades. All right, now we're gonna start working on the lower lash line. As like a colored liner base, which you guys know I like to do, today I actually took something different. This is the MAC CHROMAGRAPHIC pencil in the shade Basic Red. Now mine is a little old, I will be completely honest. So it's not as creamy as it used to be. Usually when you put these on, it's like straight, like creamy color. This is actually better than it was on the other eye. I think I just needed to kind of get it going a little bit, but I'm gonna use that on my waterline and then underneath my lower lash line, just to give me a nice sticky base for these shadows to stick to on the bottom. So my finger, I'm gonna soften that line a little bit. And now we're gonna start going into all of our colors. So I'm gonna take a little smudgy brush. This is a Morphe E36, my absolute favorite smudgy brush. We're gonna go on with the really bright red. And I'm gonna start off by packing this all the way across the lash line to set that liner. I'm then gonna switch over back to our Morphe M513. I'm gonna take Pan Dulce, the kind of mid-tone orange, and I'm gonna start blending that down a little bit. And you can overlap on top of the red, which I do, because we will end up touching up the red one more time. I'm gonna go into Soul, and that is gonna go underneath as well, the lightest orange. And you guys, if you watch me long enough, you know, I really like to bring it down and buff it really low. I think it just looks really cool. Next, I'm gonna take a tiny bit more of my Peaches and Cream base on my finger again. I'm going to dab that on the inner part of my lower lash line. And then I'm gonna dab the Alegria color on top, just to kind of bring that bright neon vibe to the lower lash line as well. And then at this point, you can go back in with a smudgy brush just to make sure that's buffed and fading really nicely. And then I'm gonna go into the shade Chocolate one more time and bring that down here to kind of meet up with the depth we have going on in the outer corner and add some depth to the lower lash line. And I'm only bringing that like halfway across. And then finally, I'm just gonna touch up my inner corner kind of bright shade here. You know, any of that color was taken away when I put down the shimmery color down here. I want to make sure the inner corner kind of melts into the bottom. Really quickly, I'm going to throw on a wing liner, and today I'm using this. It's new to me. It's the NYX Epic Ink liner in the shade Black. This girl I follow called The Beauty Roast on Instagram. She talked about how much she loves this pen. So I decided to give it a go because my other NYX liquid liner I use, the NYX matte liquid liner, is pretty much run out at this point. So I wanted to try something new. And yeah, so that's what I'm using today. I like it so far for the most part. And I'm just gonna do quite a long wing, but that is not fun. My eye always does that on this side especially. My eye doesn't even feel like it's watering, but it will still do that. Like, it's so annoying, but this eye won't do it. Like, I don't get it. Okay guys, so I ended up just doing all my face makeup while I was gone there, along with my brows, just because like I wanted this just to be more about the eyeshadow look. So really quickly, I'm just gonna throw on some like blush and lip and stuff, and I'll show you guys that to kind of go with the eyes. So for my blush today, I'm gonna go into my JUVIA'S Saharan 2 blush palette, this beauty here, and I'm going to use this dark kind of bright orange shade in the corner. Also really quickly, I'm going to dip into the shade Soul from the palette one more time, just to touch up under my eyes because I did my concealer, and I want to make sure that this under eye still looks really like bright and make sure none of my concealer covered up this pretty color. I like that better. It adds like such like a grungy, like extra smoky vibe to this eye look, which is amazing. Okay, so then for highlight today, I'm going to use one of my favorites, JUVIA'S Loose Highlight in the shade Heroine. But first, really quickly, I'm going to spray down my face with a little bit of my Morphe Setting Mist just to kind of add some hydration in my skin and make it so my highlight shows up even better. I am going to try to cover up my eyes as well. I know you guys are probably thinking, holy shit, your eyebrows are way too dark. I know. I don't know, I was kind of feeling like a very dramatic vibe with my eyebrows, so I just went with like a super dark brown pencil, and I love it, so there's that. For my lip, I'm going to use just like a cute brownie nude because I don't want to do anything crazy. I could go the orange, but I really want this to be focused on the eyes. So I'm just going to use my ColourPop Lippie pencil in the shade BFF, which is like a really light brown kind of color. And then I'm going to throw on this MAC lip gloss. Oh God, there's no color on the bottom. I'm going to try to find the name of this color, and I'll put it in the description box, but it's like a really light nude, but it's got sort of like orangey and gold shimmer in it, so I feel like that'll go well with the eyes. Alright guys, so that is the finished look. As far as my thoughts on this palette, it's probably pretty obvious. This is probably one of the most pigmented palettes I feel like that I've ever touched. Like, this palette is insane. When I was doing swatches of these, like when I was looking at it in the store, I was literally blown away. I was like, holy shit, like how is that actually possible? All the shades I worked with, you guys saw it in the look. You can see so pigmented. They show up so crazy. They blend so nice. I did already mention in the tutorial that the red shade, you just want to work with that a little more. In my experience using that today, it's just got a bit of that thing that it does where it wants to get patchy. So you just want to make sure you're pressing, again, these are pressed pigments. So that's going to be the best way to apply them, is press them onto a sticky base. They're really going to show up really bright. But I'm actually obsessed with this. The packaging is absolutely ridiculous. It's got some matte parts and then these really shiny parts where the flowers are. The amount of like attention to detail that went into this whole collection is crazy. Like, packaging, beautiful. It's cardboard, but it's a really heavy cardboard, so it feels like so luxurious in your hands. The price, sorry guys, the price is a lot. It's $58. All of their bigger palettes like this are in the higher 50s range. I also have the Gemini palette. This is an even better formula to me than the Gemini palette, and I love that one so much. This, I feel like, is even more high quality and insane pigmentation. Like, I'm so obsessed with this. I wasn't even planning to buy it. I just happened to see it in Sephora, and I, was like, all right, let me just swatch it. I want to see what these colors look like. And after swatching, I was like, it's done. Like, I have to have this. Like, there's no way I can't have this. So I decided, like I said, to go with this one because it was more wearable. I thought I could use it more than the other one, as much as I love the other one. I still might get the other one because the quality is insane. you will not be disappointed. If you are into bright eyeshadows, if you love color, you like to kind of switch it up and do really colorful looks like this, you will not be disappointed in the look you can do with this, because this pigmentation is out of this world. Crazy and beautiful, and I'm literally obsessed. So I give this 5 stars out of 5. Like, it's so good. I'm so happy to have this in my collection. I can't wait to do more looks with it. I really want to do like a little neutral moment just to see what that would look like and do like those browns. Okay, so really quickly before I end the video, I'm going to do some swatches. Disclaimer, I suck at swatches. Okay, so if you saw any of my last videos where I did swatches, like the ColourPop video, it's a mess. I suck. Sorry. Okay, so I'm just going to try to get them all on this arm in one swoop, so I don't have to do this like over again. I have some baby wipes here to wipe off my fingers in between colors. All right, so I'm just gonna start from the green side and work my way down. So this is the shimmery green, and my hand is stained from swatching in the store earlier. This shimmery green is a very wet, kind of thick feeling eyeshadow. Just an FYI, not that that's a bad thing. We've got the next shade, the kind of neon green. I would say that one swatches the sheerest of all of them. Got the yellow. I'm gonna have to make these closer together because I'm gonna run out of room in my arm. All right. There's the first brown. Insane. This is the shade chocolate that I used today. Look at that swatch. It would just keep going. Like, that is how pigmented that color is. And I'm making sure my fingers are dry before I do this. Okay, we've got our next brown, another one that just keeps going. Okay, here is the orange. Here is the mid-tone orange. The shimmery red orange. And then finally, the matte red. Do you see? You don't see. Like, what? Oh my God. So as you can see, insanity. Swatches don't mean anything, but at the same time, like, holy crap, that's literally amazing. Like, those swatches, are you kidding? Like I said, the green is the only one that I don't think swatches very well. I'm gonna put one more layer on top just for that one. But hopefully you guys can see how insane those colors are. All right, guys, so that is it for this review, tutorial, swatches, all that stuff. Hope you really enjoyed this, found it helpful, help you make a decision about whether or not you want to get the palette. Get it. I highly recommend you get it. It's really good. So yeah, that is it. Thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe if you are new, and I will see you next time. Bye.